Hello and welcome to binomial expansion. This part of binomial expansion is specifically going to be the bit where the thing in the bracket, your first term usually, is not a 1, which is how it normally is, but in the special cases it's not a 1, which is how they really trip you up on it. So we're going to be starting on question 15, which is page 87 of the Pack 1 Orange on the Teams assignment. So what you got to do when this isn't a 1, I'm sure you already know, it's pretty obvious. You just factorize out 4, and then you get this line here, which is also, again, pretty obvious. It's just dividing through by 4. Thing you need to not forget, though, which could be quite easy to forget, it is very easy to forget, is you need to also raise this 4 to the power that the original bracket was by, which is obviously a half, which brings it down to 2. And you can make this easy on yourself by just leaving that till later. You're not going to do you're not going to do yourself any favors if you leave it in and start worrying about it and then make some silly errors. So, we're only going to x squared in this first question, which is pretty nice for a change, because you only have to do times these two, and then you have a pretty nice fraction up here, actually. So this is the kind of layout you want in the exam, really, because it's really easy for the examiner to kind of go through and see, yeah, that's right, tick, 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 it's done, that's it, which makes the examiner's life pretty easy, and yours too, because you get the marks. So here what you've got, you need to do the power times by the coefficient of x, which in this case is 5/4. So what you're going to do here is going to do 1 plus 5/8. Pretty easy stuff, it's just multiplication. And again here, you're going to do the power, but then it's the power take 1. So it's going to be a half times by minus a half, because you take away 1, shocker, over 2 factorial. So it starts off with 1 factorial, 2 factorial, 3 factorial, so on if it asks you to, but it's not in this question. And obviously 1 factorial, you can just ignore that and leave it as it is. But then you've also got to times it by the coefficient of x squared. So it's the number of factorials you've got, and that's the power you're going to be doing to your coefficient of x. So it's just 5/4 squared, and you've also got your x squared. You need to not forget that. So simplifying that out, you get 1 5/8 plus minus 1/4 over 2 factorial, 25/16 x squared. So now simplifying this, it's a bit of a pain because you've got a lot of fractions over fractions, which is never really nice. Ugh. Now, one way I like to think about fractions over fractions is if you do this, it's like writing that. Ignore that. Got a bit ahead of myself. But one way you can also write it, which won't come as a shock to you, is like that, which could also help simplify it. So you can do 1 plus 5/8, take away 25/128. And then obviously simplify that. Oh, you can simplify that if you want. It does say in its simplest form, each coefficient in its simplest form. I'm not going to do that purely because I don't want to. I'm not exactly going to lose marks in my own home on my own paper, but just remember, in an exam, make sure you simplify. But also, I've just done it here, and this is what I mean. You need to remember this 2 up here. So really, the actual answer is 2 plus 5/4 minus 25/64 x squared. And that is the final answer. So all that there is 5 marks. And really, when you think about it, it's just a bit of multiplication and then just a bit of simplifying. Nothing too crazy. I mean, we all know multiplication and simplifying. It's pretty simple stuff. Part B, it doesn't really get too tricky. It's just find the exact value of this when x equals 1/10. for that, it's 1 mark, so you know it's not going to be anything crazy. It is literally just 4 plus 5. 1/10 to the half. And again, simplify that. So you times it out, it's 5/10, also known as a half. 4 plus a half is just going to be 8/2 plus a half, which is 9/2 to the half. So it's 3/√2. Pretty simple stuff, nothing too crazy. It's just simplifying and subbing in, which is a lot of this topic actually. It's just subbing in when it comes to part B. Next is part C. Substitute x equals 1/10 into your binomial expansion from part A, which is this here, that there, and hence find an approximate value for √2. So for this one, what you're going to be doing is, well, I mean, it says it in the question, substitute x equals 10 into your binomial expansion. So it's 1 plus, oh, I forgot the x there. Don't forget the x there, because it'll mess up the whole thing and you won't get the marks. This is a bit embarrassing how I forgot that actually. But it's the first time, so I'm allowed to make mistakes. So, simplify that out. And we know that when x equals 1/10, it approximately equals this here, 3/√2. But it's approximate because we've not expanded the full thing, so it's only approximate. So that's why we do the wavy equals, which is probably, again, not a shock to any of you. And then from here on out, it's just, again, simplification. So it's √2 approximately equals 3 over this simplified, which is 1 plus 5/80 minus 25 over 6400, because it's a 10 squared, don't forget. You need to simplify that. I've not got my calculator on me, but I mean, we all have calculators and brains, so it shouldn't be too difficult for any of you guys watching this. But yeah, once you simplify that, you've got your approximate value for √2, and it also says give your answer in the form P/Q. So you can keep this as a fraction, so all you have to really do is simplify this bottom one, which is literally just typing into the calculator, which isn't anything too insane. But after that, that is literally 5, 6, 8 marks. 1 page of working for 8 marks when it's just subbing in and calculator work pretty much. But if you've got this format here and you remember your x, you should be all right. It's not too difficult.